Have you ever looked in the mirror after giving birth and whispered to yourself, "Who am I now?" Have you ever felt that the world expected you to be glowing, when inside everything felt like it was collapsing or beginning again? If you've ever wondered why your emotions feel like earthquakes, why your thoughts seem louder than your own voice, or why this phase feels like both a breakdown and a breakthrough, you are not alone. Studies show that 1 in every 3 women experiences intense emotional instability during the puerperium. Yet almost none of them speak about the inner transformation that happens behind closed doors. And even fewer understand that what feels like falling apart is, Navrata, the beginning of a profound rebirth. Because the truth is simple and brutal. The woman who existed before childbirth will never return. And this is not a loss. This is the beginning of a reconstruction. Today's video is not just information. It is a warm hand on your back, a soft light in the dark room you've been navigating, and a reminder that amid exhaustion, fear, guilt, swollen emotions, and silent tears, something extraordinary is happening inside you. This is the moment where identity cracks open. Not to break you, but to recreate you. We're going to walk together through the 7 stages of this rebirth: the emotional earthquake, the hormonal storm, the body's reconstruction, the spiritual awakening, the shadow zone, the rise of your new self, and finally, the path forward into your new identity as a mother and as a woman. Stay with me until the end, because every chapter is a piece of a truth you desperately needed, but no one ever told you. Before we begin, I want to ask you something important. What has been the hardest part of your puerperium so far? Leave it in the comments. Your voice might be exactly what another mother needs to read today. And if this topic resonates with you already, don't forget to like this video. Share it with another mother who needs to feel understood, and subscribe to the channel so we can continue this healing journey together. Now, take a breath. Place your hand on your heart, and let's walk into the rebirth of the woman during the puerperium. The first thing that shakes a woman during the puerperium is not her body, her hormones, or even her sleep. It's her identity. Suddenly, the woman she used to be, independent, certain, emotionally structured, feels like a distant memory. It's as if someone pressed a reset button inside her without asking permission, and everything that once made sense becomes unfamiliar. Many mothers describe this phase as losing themselves, but in truth, it's more like standing in front of a broken mirror where each piece reflects a different version of who they were, who they are, and who they're becoming. This internal earthquake happens because the brain undergoes one of the most intense neurological reorganizations of adult life. Science shows that areas responsible for empathy, vigilance, emotional processing, and bonding expand dramatically. But while this transformation is beautiful in theory, in real life it feels overwhelming because every expansion also shakes the foundation beneath it. You might find yourself crying without knowing why, craving silence but also fearing it, longing for the old you but sensing she doesn't fit anymore. This identity shift often comes with guilt. You might wonder why you're not instantly confident, or why motherhood didn't immediately ignite a sense of wholeness. You might question whether you're strong enough, maternal enough, or even stable enough, and these questions can feel terrifying. But here's the truth most women never hear. Every identity transition in life feels like loss before it feels like growth. You are not failing. Your identity is simply rearranging itself to hold more than it ever had to before. During this stage, small triggers can feel like emotional earthquakes. A comment from a family member, a moment alone with your thoughts, a night of no sleep. You might look at your baby and feel love and fear tangled together. You might miss your freedom, your old routines, or the version of you who didn't have to be on all the time. These are not signs of weakness. They're signs that your mind is building a new architecture, one designed to carry the weight of a whole new world. To navigate this stage, allow yourself to acknowledge the fracture. Don't force yourself to bounce back. Instead, be curious about the woman who is emerging beneath the cracks. Identity doesn't disappear, it transforms. And this earthquake, as destabilizing as it feels, is the first sign that a stronger, deeper, more expansive version of you is taking shape. The hormonal storm of the Puerperium is like waking up inside a weather system that changes every hour. One moment you feel steady, grounded, almost yourself again, and the next, you're flooded by a wave of emotions you can't trace back to any specific cause. This isn't randomness. It's biology reconstructing itself at a speed the mind can barely keep up with. After childbirth, estrogen and progesterone levels drop more than 100-fold in just a few days. No other moment in adult life brings such a drastic hormonal shift. And while your body is adjusting, your emotional landscape becomes unpredictable, raw, and powerful. What makes this phase so confusing is that these hormonal changes don't feel like chemistry. They feel like truth. A simple thought can suddenly feel like a crisis. A moment of tiredness becomes despair. A small conflict becomes an avalanche. You might find yourself crying in the shower, irritated by sounds you used to ignore, or overwhelmed by responsibilities you used to handle easily. None of this means you're weak or ungrateful. It means your internal system is on overdrive, trying to recalibrate in real time. Another part of this storm is the intensity of the brain's new wiring. The maternal brain becomes more sensitive to danger, more alert to the baby's needs, and more emotionally attuned. This hypervigilance can feel like anxiety, even when nothing is wrong. It's your biology trying to protect your child, even if that protection sometimes clashes with your own need for rest, silence, or space. Many women blame themselves for feeling irritable, overwhelmed, or disconnected during this period. But these reactions are simply your body shifting from the state of pregnancy to the state of caregiving. Transition as ancient as humanity itself. During this hormonal turbulence, even joy can feel intense. Tenderness can feel overwhelming. Love can feel frighteningly big. It's as if every emotion comes amplified, without filters. And while society expects mothers to be serene and glowing, the reality is that your internal chemistry is doing the emotional equivalent of rewiring a house with the electricity still on. Things spark, circuits overload, light flickers before stabilizing. What truly helps during this storm is lowering expectations of yourself, of your productivity, of your emotional performance. Instead of fighting the waves, let them move through you. Name what you feel without judging it. Ask for help, even when it feels uncomfortable. This storm is not a sign that you're losing control. It's a sign that your body and mind are building a new balance, one that honors the woman you are becoming. Your body after childbirth is not a battlefield, it's a sacred reconstruction site. But most women don't feel sacred in this stage. They feel broken, swollen, stitched, bruised, or simply unrecognizable. The physical changes of the Puerperium are not subtle. They are loud, demanding, and constant. Your abdomen feels different. Your breasts are sensitive or heavy. Your pelvis aches, and exhaustion coats every muscle. These sensations can make you feel like your body betrayed you, when in truth, it's performing one of the most complex recoveries a human can endure. The physical transformation isn't just about healing from birth. It's about your body shifting from pregnancy physiology to postpartum physiology, a transition that touches every system: cardiovascular, endocrine, skeletal, digestive, and even the brain. You're still bleeding, still contracting, still regulating milk production, still adjusting fluid levels, still repairing tissue. Meanwhile, society expects you to bounce back as if the body simply snaps its fingers and returns. Nothing could be further from the truth. This period also brings tension between how you think your body should look and how it truly feels. Mirrors can become uncomfortable places. Clothes fit differently. Movements feel heavier. Many mothers feel guilty for missing their old body, as if longing for familiarity meant ingratitude. But this longing is not vanity, it's memory. It's recognizing a version of yourself that felt stable before everything changed. And yet, within this discomfort, something extraordinary is happening. The body is not simply recovering, it's reorganizing. The uterus is shrinking. Tissue is knitting together. Ligaments are repositioning. Hormones are recalibrating to support breastfeeding or its absence. Your nervous system is learning new patterns of alertness and connection. This is not collapse. This is reconstruction. Caring for this rebuilding body requires gentleness, not pressure. Rest whenever possible, even if it's 5 minutes with your eyes closed. Hydrate like it's medicine. Nourish yourself with foods that stabilize your energy. Move slowly, honoring the signals your body sends instead of overriding them. Notice the small victories, an easier step, a deeper breath, a moment of comfort. Instead of asking your body to go back, ask what it needs to move forward. This phase is not about returning to who you were. It's about honoring the body that carried you through birth and is now carrying you into a new life. Reconstruction is not weakness. It's proof of unimaginable strength. There is a moment in the puerperium when the emotional experience becomes so intense, so raw, so unfiltered, that it stops feeling merely psychological and begins to feel spiritual. It's as if motherhood opens a portal inside you, one that exposes everything you've carried, everything you've avoided, and everything you've forgotten about yourself. This awakening isn't gentle, it's deep, primal, and often disorienting, but it is also one of the most transformative passages a woman can experience. During this period, you may notice emotions rising with unfamiliar strength. Tears come not only from sadness, but from beauty, fear, exhaustion, or memories you didn't know were still living inside you. Moments with your baby may feel sacred, almost timeless, as if life is inviting you to slow down and rediscover the simplest human truth: touch, presence, breath, connection. And just as quickly, you may feel overwhelmed by questions that cut to the core, questions about who you are, what matters, and what you're meant to become now that your life has expanded in irreversible ways. Psychologists describe the puerperium as a time when the mind becomes more sensitive and more perceptive. But many mothers describe it differently. I felt like my soul was breaking open. This deep emotional sensitivity isn't a flaw. It's a sign that childhood experiences, family patterns, old wounds, and buried insecurities can rise to the surface. Motherhood has a way of making the invisible visible. The things you pushed aside for years suddenly asked to be acknowledged. And although this can be painful, it can also be profoundly healing. This spiritual doorway also reveals strength you didn't know you had. You begin to sense a fierceness in yourself, a protective, intuitive, instinctual force that feels older than your own life. There are moments when you act without thinking, guided by something deeper than logic. There are moments when you hear your own inner voice clearer than ever before. And there are moments when you realize that motherhood didn't weaken you, awakened you. Instead of fighting these intense feelings, try to lean into them with curiosity. Let the quiet moments speak to you. Notice what rises when the house is finally still. Pay attention to the thoughts that repeat, the emotions that demand to be felt, and the memories that resurface. They aren't here to overwhelm you, they're here to transform you. This emotional awakening is not chaos, it is a passage. It is your inner world rearranging itself so you can become the woman this new life chapter is asking you to be. There is a part of the puerperium that almost no one talks about, the shadowed corner of the experience where fear, guilt, loneliness, and silent cries quietly gather. This isn't the part that people post on social media or mention during casual conversation. It's the part you feel at 3 a.m. while everyone sleeps, when your mind whispers the questions you're afraid to say out loud. Am I doing this right? Why does this feel so hard? Why do I feel scared even when everything seems fine? These thoughts don't make you a bad mother. They make you a human being navigating one of the most emotionally demanding transitions of adulthood. Fear often appears without clear logic. You might fear something happening to the baby, fear not bonding enough, or fear that the overwhelm you feel means something is wrong with you. Even small tasks can feel monumental because your nervous system is stretched thin, hypervigilance kicks in, shadows feel heavier, sounds feel sharper, and sometimes you feel like you're carrying the weight of an entire world inside your chest. Then comes the guilt for feeling tired, for wanting a moment alone, for missing your old life, for feeling irritated, for crying, for not enjoying every second, or even for not instantly connecting with your baby the way movies say you should. This guilt is corrosive and unearned. It grows because society romanticizes motherhood while hiding the emotional labor behind it. But guilt does not mean failure. It's simply the emotional residue of unrealistic expectations. And within this shadow zone, tears arrive quiet, sudden, or explosive. Sometimes they fall without explanation. Sometimes they come because of exhaustion. Sometimes they come after a small mistake or a moment of frustration. These tears are not weakness. They are pressure valves, releasing emotions too heavy to carry silently. What makes this stage even harder is the isolation. You may feel surrounded by people yet profoundly alone. You may struggle to express what's happening because you don't want to be judged or misunderstood. You may even smile publicly while feeling like you're unraveling privately. This dual reality is far more common than you think. But here's the truth that can soften this darkness. Nothing you're feeling disqualifies you from being a good mother. Fear shows you care. Tears show you're human. Guilt shows you're trying. Exhaustion shows you're giving everything you have. These shadows don't define you, they reveal your depth, your courage, and your heart, and acknowledging them is the first step towards stepping out of them. There comes a moment, often subtle, almost imperceptible, when something inside you begins to shift. It doesn't happen with fireworks or sudden clarity. It happens quietly, in the middle of an ordinary day. When you realize that the emotional weight you've been carrying doesn't feel quite as heavy as it once did. This is the beginning of the rebirth. Not the final transformation, but the first soft signal that the woman inside you is emerging again different, deeper, and far more powerful than before. At first, this rebirth feels fragile. It might appear in a simple thought like, "I'm handling this better than last week." Or in a moment when you catch yourself smiling without effort, or when your body, still healing, begins to feel like a place you can inhabit again instead of merely endure. These small shifts matter. They are the cracks in the emotional darkness where light begins to seep through. As this new identity forms, you start noticing a strength that wasn't there before. It's not the strength of the old you, the one who handled everything with independence and control. This strength is quieter, steadier, rooted in resilience rather than certainty. You've confronted fears that once overwhelmed you. You've endured nights that felt endless. You've held life in your arms while holding yourself together in ways no one saw. This lived experience reshapes you from the inside out. Alongside this strength emerges a new sense of authenticity. You stop pretending that everything is fine when it's not. You become more honest with yourself, more honest about your needs, and more selective about what truly deserves your energy. You begin to understand that vulnerability is not a flaw, but a doorway to connection, to healing, to real support. The woman who is rising now doesn't want perfection. She wants truth. She wants balance. She wants to feel whole. There is also a kind of wildness that wakes up in this stage, a raw, instinctive intuition. You begin to trust your gut more. You recognize what feels right for your baby and for your own well-being. You stop measuring yourself against others and start listening to your own inner compass. This intuitive force is ancient, primal, and astonishingly wise. This rebirth does not erase the struggles you endure. It integrates them. It turns your wounds into wisdom. It turns your doubts into compassion. It transforms your fear into insight. And slowly, you realize that the woman you are becoming isn't weaker because of what she went through. She is more grounded, more aware, more alive. The rebirth is not the return of who you were. It is the rise of who you were always meant to become. When the intensity of the Puerperium finally begins to soften, a quiet truth starts to reveal itself. You are not returning to who you were. You are stepping into who you are becoming. This path forward is not about perfection, productivity, or pretending you have everything under control. It's about building the emotional, practical, and spiritual scaffolding that supports the woman who is emerging from this profound transformation. One of the most powerful tools on this path is intentional slowing down. Mothers often feel pressured to rush back into routines, responsibilities, or old identities, but healing requires space. Give yourself permission to move at the pace of your nervous system, not the pace of external expectations. Create small daily rituals that ground you. A morning stretch, a cup of tea in silence, 3 deep breaths before picking up your baby, or 5 minutes of sunlight on your face. These tiny acts recalibrate your emotional world far more than you realize. Another essential step is building community, even if it feels uncomfortable or vulnerable. The Puerperium can create a sense of disconnection, but motherhood was never meant to be lived in isolation. Reach out to another mother, join a local support group, message a friend who understands, or share honestly with someone you trust. When you speak your truth, you not only lighten your emotional load, you also invite support, wisdom, and companionship into your healing process. This path forward also includes developing emotional practices that help you understand yourself more deeply. Journaling your thoughts at night, naming your emotions out loud, or simply acknowledging this is hard, but I'm learning can shift your entire inner landscape. These practices don't erase challenges, but they strengthen your capacity to face them with clarity instead of self-judgment. And then there are rituals. Simple but powerful actions that symbolize your rebirth. Lighting a candle at the end of a heavy day. Writing a letter to the woman you were before childbirth. Placing your hand over your heart and saying, "I'm still here, and I'm becoming someone new." These gestures anchor your transformation, helping you recognize that motherhood is not only about caring for a baby, it's also about caring for the new version of yourself. As you walk forward, remember, you are not rebuilding alone. Every mother before you has walked a version of this path, with trembling steps and rising strength. The woman you're becoming is wiser, deeper, braver, and more connected to herself than ever before. Your new life isn't waiting somewhere ahead. You are already living it. One breath, one moment, one small act of courage at a time. The journey through the Puerperium is not a straight path. It twists, it shakes, it breaks you open, and then slowly, quietly, it rebuilds you into someone wiser, stronger, and more deeply connected to your own truth. Everything you've felt in this period, from the identity cracks to the hormonal storms, from the spiritual openings to the shadows you faced, is part of a transformation that no one can see from the outside, but you experience in every cell of your body. If you ever believed you were failing, remember this: transformation never feels graceful while it's happening. It feels messy, loud, exhausting, and uncertain. Yet every moment of vulnerability you lived was a step toward your rebirth. You weren't breaking down, you were breaking open. And the woman emerging on the other side is not a diminished version of your former self. She is more layered, more intuitive, more resilient, and more alive. Now that you've walked through each chapter of this experience, take a moment to recognize the courage it took to get here. Honor the tears you shed, the fears you faced, the love you gave, and the strength you didn't know you had. Healing isn't about pretending the hard moments didn't exist. It's about understanding that they shaped you into someone new. Your body has rebuilt, your mind has expanded, your heart has widened. You are not the woman you were, but that was never the goal. As you move forward, carry with you a few simple practices. Listen to your body before you listen to expectations. Speak your truth even when it feels uncomfortable. Accept help instead of carrying everything alone. And give yourself permission to grow at your own pace. The Puerperium doesn't end on a specific date. It eases as you learn to live this new version of yourself. Before you leave this video, I want to ask you, what part of this journey resonated with you the most? Share it in the comments. Your experience might be the lifeline another mother needs today. And if this video offered you clarity, comfort, or strength, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Together, we create a space where mothers feel seen, understood, and honored in the fullness of their transformation. You are not alone. You are healing. You are becoming. You are reborn. If this message spoke to your heart, take a moment to like this video. Leave a comment sharing your experience, and subscribe so we can continue walking this journey together. Your voice matters, and another mother out there needs to hear it.